Understand how to wrap a standard object inside a proxy to intercept, modify, or log operations. In this example, we want to look at the concept of metaprogramming in JavaScript. Metaprogramming means writing code that inspects or alters the behavior of other codes. So you can use it to change a property value before they actually take effect. So that's the usefulness of this means of writing code in JavaScript. On the other hand, what is a proxy? A proxy is like a security guard standing right in front of your object. So whenever anyone tries to do things with it, like try to read, write, or change a property on that object, so the security guard intercepts the request first and run a special function called a trap. And we're going to be looking at how each of these can be applied on object properties in JavaScript. So let's move on. I'm already in my script tag here, and the first thing I want to do is I want to first make an original object. Let's say you want to even modify or change the property value of an object. You actually first need to have that object in its original state. So let me call this the original object, the original target object. So let me call the object user. So as a user can have a name. Let's call it John, or let's use this Alice, and age of 30. So now that I have that original object, it's time to now wrap the object in proxy. That is, a proxy, like they said, it's like a security guard in front of the object. So I now want to put a guard around the object that I just created. So with an handler containing the set trap method. So I'll go ahead and create the proxy, const proxy. So I'll call the new proxy constructor and pass in my object user. And then inside it, I'll use the handler, the set trap handler, which will take a parameter of target, property, and value. So these are the things that the set trap will be watching over anytime maybe an incoming request is trying to modify or change the property value of my object. So the set trap will be the one that will run a special function, which is our proxy, to check whether something is coming to intercept, to modify or change the properties of our object. So now that I have this, let's try and log the change first. Log property plus is being changed to and value. Now, if you look at this now, if I come inside our console, let's check. Is there anything? Okay, nothing is actually in our console yet, right? Good. So let's move on. And let's do a simple correction here. So I will call on the target property equals to value. And I also want to return true to confirm the operation. Return true to confirm the operation succeeded. And how am I going to do that? Well, it's very simple. Just pass in return true if the operation succeeded. If not, then it will return false. That is, the operation did not actually succeed. So now that you have this, let's add another comment. And this comment is going to be to trigger the trap, that is the guard that is watching our objects. So through the proxy object. So how do you trigger the trap? Well, you will use the proxy object to do that. So you can now say proxy.name equals to we have our sorry, we have John as our first name, so let me call it Bob here. And now if you check our log, let me open it again so that you can be following if something is going alongside it. So log is not defined. Line 48. You can see this. I just want to add a space. Name is being changed to Bob, which means that when we try to log our change first, now look at what is happening. We initially had Alice, and now we are changing the name to Bob. So if you want to modify the age as well, if you change it to 25, you can see what is happening. And again, if you want to change the name again to something else like this, like Charlie, now this also should change. So you can see name is being changed to Charlie. Now, the way proxy intercept changes to the user object is that every time you update a property via proxy and the property, whether a name or age, so the set trap will automatically log the action with a timestamp directly onto the web page. And you can see what is happening here because we are trying to, we are using this the console as a way to visualize our result. If you are not using console, then we can also use what we have inside here, but for ease of access, that's the reason why I stick with the console. So if I change a value directly on the original user object, does the trap run? Let's try it. If I change this to John, let's see if the trap method will run. If I change it here directly, now do you see that nothing happened actually? Well, no, the set trap function will not run because the security guard only inspects requests that come from the main entrance. So this proxy is like the main entrance. So if you bypass the proxy and write directly to the original object, it modifies the value quietly without ever running your set trap logic. So always interact with proxy variable instead. So if you want to change values inside the original object, you don't go directly and modify it. If you bypass the proxy, then the set trap will never run. Only if you go through the proxy variable will it run. So if you want to change that name here, we can say proxy.name equals to John. And now you will see that the changes will take effect. Look at it. Name is being changed to John. So look closely at the handler configuration that we have here, from where we are using the set trap object. Now, when we execute proxy.name equals to John, JavaScript halts the operation and redirects control straight into our set trap method. So the trap logs the exact property and the incoming value on the screen, and that is why you are seeing name is being changed. So when you pass in a property here, so JavaScript will halt that operation, then it will come inside the set trap to check the property and the value of the property that is being changed, and then it will now write it to the console. And it is the reason why you are seeing all this in our console.